have with a following of over 10,000 people on Instagram, 5,000 Facebook followers, and a record of giving birth to more snowmen than anybody in the history of woodturning. She's a turner from the state down under. She's the lady of the lake. Holly Day Woodturner, please put your hands together for our main attraction, Holly Denny!
Okay. Ron Campbell likes to say I give birth to snowmen. And he won't quit. He knows I don't like it, and he does it anyway. Okay. My name's Holly Denny. You know that by now. And I've been turning for about 5 years. I've been turning snowman for what seems like 6 years. Because it was an easy project for me when I first started learning. And am I too loud or anything?
Oh, you're good.
So, it was an easy project, and they took off. I'd post them on Facebook or Instagram, and I would get orders for them. And they took off, and they got bigger and bigger every year. And I enjoyed them.
Oh,
It stifled a little bit of my learning other things,
right?
because I'm constantly
Yeah, I
backlogged
recorded
with
when you were doing
snowmen.
that too.
So, hopefully, Ron's going to teach me how to turn bowls and hollow forms soon. Right, Ron? But for now, I'll stick with snowmen. I start out, this is American chestnut. I got lucky enough to get some American chestnut. This does have the pith in it, obviously, and this piece will actually probably crack and not be usable. I do turn logs, but I make sure they're maybe 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years old. And I use Steven Seagal has a wood drying solution. I have some cards of his, but you can actually take a log like this and put it in this drying solution, and it'll dry this where I can turn it and the pith is dry in about 4 weeks. And so that's really nice, but that's helped me a lot. Otherwise, I use blocks similar to this. I like my snowmen to be fat, so I'll use about 4 to 5 inch in diameter wood, and the hat is about this size, I don't know, 3 inches. This is about 7 inches. It's really important to me. If you look at these snowmen, people ask me what the measurements are all the time. I don't know what the measurements are. I eyeball it. I like my snowmen to all look different. And it just depends on how my tool goes with the wood that day, and whether he's fat, skinny, tall, short. And then the hat, I pretty much eyeball that because I've been doing it for so long and made so many. I can kind of eyeball it. You can see though sometimes that doesn't work. There's a couple snowmen, their hat are a little goofy, but usually I can eyeball it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to use live edge for the hat. This is walnut. And I've got a big knot on this piece of wood that I should have taken off with the bandsaw, but I didn't. This bark's pretty stable, so hopefully it doesn't fly off and hit everybody.
Which fish?
Okay.
Is that a crowbar you got there?
This?
Yeah.
Kind of. It's a Thompson lathe man 3/4 inch.
There you go.
Roughly.
When she puts a shield down there,
Pull
Pull the wire behind you.
Oh.
Run your, there you go. There you go.
Tell me if that's all bad. Yeah, I want to push my sleeve back here. Yeah, I've never used carbide tools. It's something I need to learn. Especially when I'm teaching classes, I'm running into an issue where I need to learn to use carbide. Ron's going to help with that too, right?
Right.
Yes.
We'll have that done today.
Okay. All right. I'm going to start off getting rid of this big knot. This blade is awful high. We're just going to rough it out. I'm known for turning this up pretty fast. This is slow. It must be set slow. I'm well aware I should have done that before the demo, but I didn't have the shield up and I was worried about the bark. So I just basically took off the bark. I left, you know, it's not, I want this to be as big as possible. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, this is the head and this is the body. I'm not going to true up this end yet because I don't know where the body is going to come in. So we're going to leave that alone. I'm not going to true up the head either. And I'll tell you why I don't true up this end. Uh-oh. Because, I'm so glad that's not my cell phone. If this piece of wood is a little bit crooked or tilted, or all it's going to do is make it easier for you to tilt that hat on the snowman. So sometimes I true it up if it's got a big notch in it. I might this one because it's got a little bit of a notch where I cut it. So I'm going to make a notch right here with my parting tool, and then I'm going to remove the excess wood down here. And again, I'm just ballpark picking how big I want the head. There's no measurements for me. You can do measurements if you want, but I don't. I just put the notch in there and then I'll use my roughing gouge to remove the rest of this. Now I have a 5/8 gouge. I'm going to come in and take off the shoulder first. And so I better move this up. I'm basically just roughing it out at this point. Really don't want that to get caught in the wind. Here. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time turning this. I know what you're mostly interested in is decorating it and that kind of thing. Most of you know how to turn a snowman at this point. But this is my way of doing it. Also, I spindle turn these, the hat too. I don't use a chuck. Most people want to use a chuck, and that's fine. I just do production work, and I found a way to do it nice and quick between centers. Now I'm going to take the top of the head off. I'm going to get the top of the head curved. I'm not going to take it off. big tool to do this with. I'm going to use a bowl gouge here in a second, but I'm just roughing it out. At the top of the head, it's going to be flat. There's going to be a little flat spot, obviously. That's going to be under the hat. That's okay, but I do like to make this as round as possible so I can take that hat and tilt it if I want to. I don't always tilt it, but if I want to, I can. This is going to be the lumpiest snowman ever. I'm really nervous. He's going to be lumpy. All right. Alright, I like that shape. Then I'm going to come in with my parting tool and go ahead and I'm going to have to true up this too because he's got this thing here. But I'm going to true up the end and then we're going to sand him. I use a shear cut to get out the lumps and that sort of thing. But right now I'm going to use an 80 grit gouge to get those lumps out. I make this a little concave, but you guys probably all realize or do the same thing. Make it slightly concave. Got a little lip right there, but I guess it'd be okay. When I do the spindle turning, I leave the minimum amount of a little post on either end. I mean, it's going to happen. So I've got some tools to help remove those and make them look nice. If you're wondering how I'm going to have a nice finish on the bottom and the top of the hat and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and true up the top of the head here. I'm getting this out of the way because I've got to sand it and that really hurts. And I kind of wasted some wood here, which I don't like, but it's just the way the snowman was shaped, so it happens. I think I might have to reshape his head too. It's a little short. I'm going to do this real quick. Oh, he's got a big flat head right there. That's okay, I'm not going to worry about that right now. We got that to do and decorating to do. I'm just going to sand this direction on 9. Normally I would slow it down and put it in reverse, but I'm in a hurry right now, so. The reason I'm sanding it is because I want to be able to show you the finish that I put on it. Or I would skip this step. I don't know if any of you guys have ever used ProNet. It's like Abernet. I get it from Ken Rizza at Woodturners Wonders. It feels awful rough. I hope I got the right one. I'll sand this to, I don't know, 300 or 400, somewhere around there. And then I just take this 2000, I really doesn't feel like 2000, but I'll take it and run over it, there it is, and just kind of buff it with this. And it just brings out a little bit of a shine. I know I shouldn't jump from like 400 to 2000, I know. But this stuff really smooths it out when I'm done sanding and prepares it for the finish.
Yeah, Holly, I used to sell Abernet and I quit selling it and now I use Ken's stuff. It's really, really good.
Yep.
Abrasion. And a lot cheaper, yeah.
It's a lot cheaper. And Ken's a really good guy.
Yeah.
What's the name of that product?
This ProNet from Ken Rizza.
It's woodturnerswonders.com. Woodturnerswonders.com. Both of them are plural.
I'm going to use a paper towel to get some of the sanding dust off. And then I'm going to apply my really strange finish that you guys might, some of you are going to say, hey, it looks good, you know, might as well use it. So I'll explain it to you in a second here. Let me get the dust off of you. All right. Mylan sanding seed. I use it for a final finish. It has shellac in it. And I do production work, so I want this thing finished. Like, I don't have time to set out a bunch of snowmen and poly them and wait for it to dry and sand them and all this other stuff. I just developed this little method. Jeff Warnung at the Walnut Log is where you can buy this, and he doesn't like this method. He says, it's not a final finish. What are you doing? I'm like, okay, Jeff, but it works for me. He's a good friend of mine.
What is it? Hold it up.
Mylands, M-Y-L-A-N-D-S. Mylands Sanding Sealer. See, I mean, this stuff dries in about 60 seconds. You can already see it's bringing out a lot of color. What sanding sealer does is it raises the grain, obviously. And I will take that 2000 ProNet, 2000 grit ProNet. This is going to be drying like seconds. I'll go over it again. basically buffing with that Pro Net. Real quick after this dries. Then I'll take a paper towel and buff it, and you'll see it's got a real nice sheen on it. I mean, I'm happy with the sheen. The snowman is cracking. I used the wrong piece of wood, so it's cracking. But I like the finish it leaves. And it's not something, the snowmen aren't something like a pen. Like I wouldn't use the miles as a finish on a pen. But, so this is probably dry by now. Anybody have any questions? Okay, this is still a little tacky. All right, so I'm just going to run over it with this real quick. And I'm going to buff it with a paper towel and it shines right up. So, like I said, you can apply, oh, look at his head, it's so square. This one's for Ron.
He's a black guy.
Ron, you wanted a snowman for your wife. Got one for you. Okay, so this gets a little hairy because you got both ends here. So basically I want to make sure the bottom of the snowman looks good. So I'm going to take this down as far as I can. And this I can sometimes cut off on a bandsaw. Hopefully I can get it so low that I can, or so skinny that I can just snap it off. That's the game plan. And then take it down to 1. Maybe a little higher on this leg. Good held on to them, I suppose. Okay. So we got this little nub here. And remember, this is why most people use chucks when they make snowmen. But I just got this method of doing it really quick like this. This is a, but it's got a saber tooth bit in the end of it. So I'm going to remove this with the drumroll saber tooth bit. It's not usually this big. There's a top right off, and I didn't put it out. I have a chisel. I use a chisel. Is that still hanging on?
This is just barely hanging on there, yes. There you go.
So I use a chisel to remove the little thing on the end there. And then I sand with this little trickster. I can't tell you how many times I've made the same mistake over and over again by putting it right up here. And then, when it gets wrapped up in there, it closes your fingers and you can't let go. I have big scrapes on my stomach. Okay.
Wear a leather apron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go through all the pads. I go to different grits and I get this nice and smooth on the end. Then I'll take Mylans, put the Mylans on there, go over it with like a 2000 on this, and sand up the bottom. So there you go. There's a snowman with a kind of square head. Now I'm going to give him a hat. Any questions? You guys were cracking a joke. I was busy doing something and I missed the joke. I heard you guys laughing. I was like, what are they talking about?
Well, nobody can believe you can see out of that face shield.
Oh yeah, it gets like that. And there's so much sawdust with these snowmen. I feel sorry for my son. He's 17, so I work him like a slave. And I do know how to work this stuff.
Right in the middle. There you go. Right in the middle. There you go.
Somebody said right in the middle. There you go. You know what I do at home? I have a rubber mallet. It's probably terrible on my leg, but I'm not the strongest person.
Oh, I thought it was for the comment.
Oh, no. I'm going to get through with that baseball bat.
The hammer.
Chuck it across the room.
Somebody here promised they were going to bring rotten fruit and toss it at me during my demo today.
In the back room.
Yeah, in the back row, Don Noel.
That's really what the shield is for.
It is.
He brought eggs instead.
Okay. I've got that on there way too tight, but we're good to go. Okay, so we're gonna, I could have done this for the demo, this hat, but he talked me into going ahead and using the live edge, which is a little risky, but it should be fine.
We have the shield. Works both ways.
Doug's not in the front row.
Works both ways, yeah. It doesn't come sideways very often, so I'm good.
Do this real quick.
A little static guard will help you with that.
Static guard,
That you use for your laundry.
what do you do? It spray it on a paper towel?
Now, I've been with a dryer sheet.
You dry your sheet from your laundry.
They said the dryer sheet thing. Todd Raines told me that, but it seemed like it made it smear up or like,
It does put a little mist.
maybe it has to be a
Makes it hazy.
used laundry thing. Okay. The hat, down here is going to be the brim of the hat. We're going to try to keep some of this live. But I've got to give myself some room down here. And I screw up the top of the hat. I wonder what would happen if I didn't do that. Kind of crooked. It might look kind of good. Oh, I can't because I got the teeth marks in there. They run down pretty good. Okay, so we're going to do the brim right now. And give myself some room down here at the end. This lady is
Is it on? I think it's on.
Maybe in the wrong position.
It's okay.
You change it?
Yeah, I don't mind.
I offered.
Thank you.
Turn it down.
Yeah, I'm just complaining without letting me solve the problem. One more stroke. I use this tool a lot. It's great for that. So now I'm going to do the brim. I'm going to go in as far as I want the hat band, because the hat band sticks out wider than the body. So I'm only going to go in as far as I want the hat band. It's got a pretty small square head. So this is the hat band. Now I'm going to move on and I'm going to give myself, because I'm going to come in with my gouge and go from here to here. So I want a decent amount of space between where I'm cutting and this brim so I don't bump into it. Okay, I'm going to screw up the top of the hat now. Okay, the way I make my hats is like a swoop. That's just the way I make them. They can be straight up and down, however. Thought you were looking at the clock. I was like, what is it, late? So I'm going to take off a little bit at a time. Ooh, a little lower right there. Usually I'll use the blow gouge for the finishing cut, but it's not too bad, so we're just going to let it go. Okay, now I want the hat. I make them a little concave, and I use my parting tool. You can't really see on any of these, they're all glued up. But I'm going to come in where the width of the brim is, and I'm going to use the corner of this and I'm going to cut in a little bit, make it a little concave, okay, so it sits down on the round head. But I want to make sure that I'm coming in right here, not coming in out here, because I'll lose this whole ring. It doesn't have to be drastic. I just like the fact that it sits down on the head a little bit. You don't have to sit there and carve in and try to do something that you should be doing on a chuck with a bolt gouge. So I'm just making it slightly concave. And then the top of the hat, I'm going to come in and do a final pass on here, because I don't want it to have the graduated line in it. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go ahead and sand. This is long, so I'm not going to use a real, I'll just sand this real quick. Oh, when you're sanding, I don't want you to sand the hat band. If you do it the way I do it, again, I'll show you. And we got a problem because I don't see it out. In one of those boxes, my ebony. Okay, so try not to sand the hat band if you can. I mean, you can get it so the edge is nice and neat, but okay, I'm just going to go over it with this real quick. I know there's a little more to the sanding than that, but I don't want to waste your time sanding. Okay, this is a cool part. Chris Ramsey taught me this. I went and stayed down at his place for a few days and learned a lot. Chris Ramsey, I went down there and I told him, you're going to teach me to turn bows and all kinds of great stuff, Chris. And he said, no, I'm not. I'm going to teach you how to turn a better snowman. So he did. But this is one of the tricks, and he really helped him. Boy, you ought to see some of the snowmen from a few years ago. Holy cow. Ron's got one. And Lana won't part with it either. Okay, so I'm going to take this. This is a sliver of black ebony. And I'm going to burnish the hat band. And I like it. I used to do it with India ink. But I like this method better because it's a little bit patchy and brownish black. And it looks like leather to me. So I'm going to do this until it smokes. So you got to really push down on it pretty hard. Sorry.
And that's black ebony, the wood?
Yes, pen blanks are good for this. Of course, I got mine from Chris Ramsey. He's probably got big chunks of black ebony sitting around. But, you know, just getting a pen blank, that was a lot of smoke.
Why ebony? I mean, would another hardwood do it or no?
He said anything that's exotic and dark could be used. So I know I saw a hat that he did one time, and he had burnished it, and it was almost a reddish. The hat band was almost reddish. So I guess I would just say experiment with them. But pen blanks are a good thing for that. Okay, so we're just going to put a little bit of finish on it and be done with this. Cut it off after I get the finish on. I'm really trying not to bore you guys because I know you guys know how to turn snowman.
We're not bored.
Nope.
I forgot to tell you guys, the first step, you have to get some shoes like these. Sorry about the little shoe thing. I really wanted to show them my shoes, sorry.
I'm gonna drop this through your shirt here.
Hey, Holly.
Now we know what to get.
Let's see if that stays there.
There you go.
Holly, what did your family tell you to get over the nervousness?
They told me to imagine everybody in their underwear. And I told them I can't. And I don't know if you guys will get this, but I couldn't because I wasn't sure if Ron was going to wear his kilt. And I don't know what they wear on the kilts.
Shoes and socks.
So I mixed that up. All right, I'm going to run this over real quick. And
Yeah, I knew this.
I'm kind of difficult, aren't I?
It's okay, it's okay. Now I'm gonna go over the pocket.
Okay.
How's that?
Yep. Okay, this is basically the same thing. You cut it off and use a chisel on the top and sand the top, just like I did with the snowman. So I'm going to cut this off the best I can.
Question.
Would you put CA glue on that bar so it doesn't come loose?
Normally I would. I've used this actual, I have big long pieces of this wood. And I haven't had any issue with it yet. The only thing I would use this wood for is my own personal snowman, or I would tell a woodturner if you guys wanted to buy one or something like that, because there's a couple of these hats over here. I would tell you to go ahead and put CA glue, because as the years go on, it's going to come off. So, but you're right. Thank you for that, because I didn't think about that. But yeah, it will. I mean, it'll last a couple years, but as it moves and changes, it'll come off. amp I usually push like that. I almost brought it.
We have one back, we couldn't set up for you.
That's okay, I'm almost done. I should have asked you.
That's all right.
The heck? What's this wood made out of? Wood? Is it just me, or is this wood just not wanting to cut? Whoops.
I wouldn't sit in the front row if she was using those. She's never used a carbide.
A little bit more. It'd be crazy and come down here and try to get this a little smaller. That's good enough. If I can, oh yeah, good. As long as it's soft enough for me to do that. I mean, thin enough. So I'm going to take my chisel. I'm going to cut the top of this off, this little knob here. And take my Dremel with the saber tooth bit on it.
Turn this way, turn this way. There you go.
You can tell me that any time. I don't know. Since I don't have my chisel, I just pop that off the thing. I'm not going to sand these in. So, see how I did it? It's pretty good.
Can you set
Oh, that's-
them up here?
Sure.
It's pretty cool, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does.
Holly, of the ones that you sell, finished nice hats or raw edge hats sell the best?
It depends on the customer. I have customers that say they want it to be round and nice, clean lines. And then I have other customers that go crazy over the live edge. I think it's just I think the live edge and the more rustic probably sell better. But I have a lot of people that don't want that. And I'm not big into the Christmassy snowman like this one, because I think it's a rustic idea. So I'm more into the, I don't know, the plaids and, I don't know. But I do Christmassy ones. Glitter, I can't stand glitter. But people like it, so I will use it. I'll take my glasses and then I'll decorate this guy, show you how I decorate him. Really want to stand that hat, I'm not going to do it. Okay, first thing I'm going to do once I get this guy done is I'm going to drill a hole for his arms. Drill holes for his arms. I forget it.
Are you going to be working over there?
I'm going to be working right here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to drill holes for his arms. You can use anything. You can go to Hobby Lobby, which is expensive, but it gets what's called a spray. It's what they use to make flower arrangements, but it's basically just a bunch of sticks. And I like those sprays because they really look just like a stick, but they have a wire in the middle of them, and they're not going to snap. Also, skewers, wood skewers, make great noses and arms. So I just color them orange. I drop them in a bag of orange paint. I drop these in a bag of brownish paint, and I dry them off. So that makes great arms. I have not, it seems like you should be able to go out in the woods and get a bunch of sticks and just make stick arms. But I haven't been able to find anything that won't get brittle and snap. Maybe you guys know of a certain kind of wood where you can get them, but I want them to be sturdy and not snap off. So first thing I'm going to do is drill the first hole for one of his arms. I'm going to pick out the best spot. Anybody got a question? Okay.
Then stop talking.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I thought somebody was talking to me.
We know what you're thinking.
Okay, so I'm going to come right about here. Give him an arm on this side. Oh, righty then, that's fast. That's okay. And then I got this really cool ruler from, I don't know, Rubber Chucky. Don Doyle. But it's flexible and I love it. So sometimes I don't measure. So this is like 1.5 inches down. Sometimes I don't measure. I'm really bad about that.
It's a snowman.
And I regret it. Well, I figure, you know, their arms are going to be wing long anyway. Could be. So I don't measure around or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to do it right about there. Am I taking too much time? How am I doing for time?
Oh, you're doing good.
Okay.
Yeah, got lots of time.
I hope that drill bit's the right one. Oh, I know. Wow. I got skinnier ones in here. I know those go in there. Oh, these are the ones that fit real tight. Real tight. I might need another bit for later today. Anyways, hand me that Dremel, will ya? I'm gonna fix this. So there's fit in there. It's funny, Sabertooth likes to send me bits and that sort of thing. I don't know how to carve anything. I just use them for other stuff like this. I don't know how to carve. I need somebody to teach me. I would like to learn to carve. I guess these are bamboo skewers. You know, bamboo is furry. So normally you wouldn't do this. You would get the right drill bit for the right size arms. But there we go, we got arms in. Just cut them off. Now, for shipping, I do a lot of shipping. So I try to make this fit real tight and then I leave them off during shipping. So if you're into that kind of sales with them, I would have the customer put the arms in if they fit tight. These aren't my favorite arms, but Hobby Lobby was out of my sprays that I usually get. I like them to look a little bit more like a stick, like these guys. This is Hobby Lobby, and it's rigid, but it's flexible. Okay, so we got his arms in. The next step, I'm going to drill a hole for his nose. I try to make sure it's right in the middle.
That's a good idea.
Well, he could
Was that a question?
You?
No, it was not. Why do you think I'm the guilty one all the time?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, it is. You be quiet.
Get Ron in trouble.
That's easy to do. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I drilled a hole in his face. I got his nose way too big. I don't know, I must have brought the wrong drill bit because these are really tight. So this is a skewer that I painted orange. Like I said, I get a Ziploc bag full of orange paint and just let them soak in there and take them out and let them dry. I'm kind of, when you use a skewer, it makes a pretty wicked nose on there, so you're going to want to sand it down a little bit. Don has started, Rubber Chuckies, he has started making me noses with the leftover rubber from what he sells. And they're really cool, but I didn't have enough to bring them for the hands-on class. I got another bunch of them today, but they have to be cut. So anyways, that's the snowman nose and the arms. You can make these noses out of clay, whatever you want for the nose, but I like the skewers. They work pretty good. The next thing I'm going to do is the face. I want to tell you guys, these, people seem to like my faces a lot, so I made these to make it a little easier. Honestly, they are so simple, these faces I do, because I cannot paint. I just use paint pens. So I made these, and I think they're going to go out to everybody through an email. So if you do want to make your own snowman and you like the way my faces look, if you don't, just ignore it. But
Yeah.
I wanted to have copies, but with the blue background, the UPS store wanted so much money to make the copies because the blue background wasn't working. So
Steve, can you stand the picture with your phone and just email them?
Yeah.
Okay. Before you leave, thanks.
So we're going to give him a face real quick.
So those of you that signed up for that, you'll just be getting an email from your club.
Yeah, the ones that gave me their email address.
We can email everybody.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do instead of just off that list. So.
One of the best faces I do is like this right here.
Here, show it to the camera.
Yeah.
Put your finger
This
on
one
it.
right here with the squiggly mouth because I can't screw it up.
Yep, okay, there he is, yep.
Yeah. So it makes it really easy. And everybody thinks, oh, it's so cute how his mouth is squiggly. It is. Because it's easy. You can mix and match eyes and noses and whatever.
What pens do you draw with?
I use Uline. I just switched over to another pen. I can't remember. It's like numbers and letters on the pen box. Oh, it's right here. This is my new one. It's U-Mark W20.
Show it to the camera.
U-Mark W20. I didn't
Okay,
use
hold
a
it still.
copy.
Okay, look at, yeah, I can't, okay, there, hang on. Here we go. Okay. Got it. Oh, he's got the last
I have these for sale out there. There's like 4 colors. I didn't know if you guys would like to just get them for me, for what I paid for them. If anybody wants to get them, they're out there. I mean, I only have like 4 or 5 markers, so.
So you're applying that after you got your finish on it?
Oh, yes.
No problem with it coming off?
No, never had a problem with it coming off. Knock on wood. But, no, people ask me that a lot, but as long as you're using paint, and the thing about using paint is you can tell them it's hand painted. You know, I mean, if you're using Sharpie markers like I did when I started, people will say, well, did you hand paint them? Well, no, I use Sharpie markers to do it, and it's not good. So now I use paint pens, and I've never had an issue with anything wearing off. I do it after the finish, though. So I'm just going to give him a couple of eyes here. We're just going to do a quickie. He looks a little sad. What was that? And one of the easiest things I do to make their eyes look good. It's so easy.
Turn it this way.
You got his black eyeballs. Now, if I take some acrylic paint, white acrylic paint, one little tiny dot, I use the end of the paintbrush. And see how it kind of brings him to life?
Hang on, I lost him. There he is. Yep.
See? It's so simple.
He's got a little gleam in his eye.
Yeah.
I got one thing I can tell you about that, is most of the guys here know I'm a photographer. If you look at pictures, you'll see a white dot in everybody's eyes. You're doing the same thing. And what it makes is the eyes will follow you wherever you go.
Does it work?
If you look at that picture, just looking at you.
It's true.
So don't leave it at the bathroom.
That's
I've had people that took pictures of them, they want me to take them white dots out, and I won't do it on the table.
Well, it brightens their eyes. I just gave them eyebrows.
Okay.
Oops, that way.
Yep.
Whoa!
It's a dancer.
We about did it. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is probably the scarf. I take the scarf, and I use material. I don't know where it went. But, here it is. I cut the material in strips. I forgot my adhesive glue. I buy Elmer's adhesive. So I can use any material I want. I just cut it into a strip this wide. I spray it with adhesive glue, Elmer's or whatever. Just make sure it says permanent bond. And then I fold it over in there, and I fold it over there, and I've got what looks like a sewn scarf. Because I don't sew. So it looks like this. And then this needs it done. I'll cut off the ends. It's a little ratty looking. And it's kind of cute just to put a couple notches in there. It's going to be a long scarf. When you use that adhesive glue, if you should decide to try it, what'd I do? I messed them up. Make sure that once you spray it, you let it set for 35 seconds to a minute. That's what creates the permanent bond. Yep. Don Doyle, your wife is going to love this. I'm kidding. Okay, we're going to put the scarf on. Strangle the poor guy. So you can put the scarf on however you want. I like these long scarves. I think they look cute hanging down. I don't know of anybody else that really liked it, and you guys got really quiet. I like it, but I've had people look at them like, what are you doing? The scarf's too long. Now I just take a little spot of hot glue, put it up here, anywhere you can just tack it down just gently, because you want it to look, that's a little bit much. That's a little bit stuck to his body. But you want to tack it down with hot glue somehow, so it doesn't come undone. Whether it's up here at the top, should I be like pointing at you and everything looking at you?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Whether it's up here, wherever, you want to tack it down. I use high heat glue gun. Okay, so he's got a scarf. What do we do next? Buttons. I don't think there's anything else I got to tell you about the scarf. Buttons. I have used CA glue, hot glue. Those were a nightmare. All kinds of different glues to get these buttons to stay on. Because the button's flat, the body's round, you got finish on it. Finally, I found Titebond Quick and Thick. It adheres quickly, like it sticks the button on there and I can walk away from it within 10 seconds. And it seems like what I've tried, after I let them sit, I can't pick that button off. And I was really happy about that because I kept having trouble with buttons falling off and shipping. The CA was the worst. Don't use CA. And don't use hot glue. Just get some Titebond, but I like this Quick and Thick because it sets it up quick. Quick and thick.
What don't you like about hot glue there?
It doesn't hold. I had my own snowman.
Turn that bottle the other way around here so I can read it.
Oh, I had
There,
my own
set it
snowman.
down.
And I went to get them out of the box the next Christmas, and it was like the second year I made them. And they were all, the buttons were hot glued. They were all in the bottom of the box. The hot glue just didn't work. I'm just going to stick these on here real quick. Oh, and it dries clear. I like that. But you see, it's nice that I can do this and move on to the next step, just taking care not to bump them. But see, it holds it right on there and we're good to go. So the next step,
Turn it this way. Go ahead and set it down.
is the hat. I do a hat embellishment, what I call a hat embellishment. So I'll take some sort of leaf, feather, anything I can find at Hobby Lobby. We're going to do this one. And I've got beads, bells, jingle bells, all kinds of stuff. I just threw what I could in this bag for the class. So, let's see what it looks like. We're going to take a couple berries and glue them right onto this leaf. That's his hat embellishment. You know, you don't have to do a hat embellishment. You can do whatever you want with the hat. I like it because it adds a little more detail. And the important thing about my snowman, one of the important things, is they're all different. I'm never going to do the same embellishments twice. Ow, I just burnt myself. This glue gun is cordless, so it's kind of neat. It charges and then you can take it off the charger for a while. So, with the hot glue, you're going to get these stringy things everywhere. They're going to be all over your snowman, because you'll see I'll use it again here pretty soon. So keep an eye on those, because your customers or your friends and family will think they're spider webs. They're not.
Couldn't you use that glue to put your embellishment on the hat?
I don't use the Titebond for the embellishment on the hat. I do use the hot glue for that.
Why?
Because this is a flexible material and it's just, I've never had a problem with using the hot glue for the embellishment. Just don't use it for the buttons. So I'm going to pick out the best spot on this hat, which is right about there. And you don't want any glue showing. When you do your embellishment or when you glue it on your hat, oh, it is my pet peeve. I have a helper that works with me, and she's just now learning that I don't want one bit of glue showing on my snowman at all. See that big clump of glue right there? She'd be laughing at me right now. Okay, this is kind of cool. Attaching the hat to the head. People have made posts at the top of the head or drilled holes and drilled a hole in the hat. It's a snowman. I use glue, okay? I use Titebond. They're saying, well, you can't glue end grain to end grain. I'm not putting it on the lathe. It's a snowman. Look. Where's this big guy? Look. It's not coming off. So just, I use wood glue. But the cool thing is, I found a way, if I wanted to tilt it, I can't really tilt it on his head because his head's a little screwy, but I put the glue in a round circle, maybe not out that far, but I take this, hot glue, I squirt some in the center of the hat, squirt a little bit on his head. This is really nice when it comes to tilted hats, because that hot glue is going to set up immediately and hold that in place. You don't have to worry about anything. So when you're doing it, you know, when you're doing a snowman with a hat like this, you don't want to sit there and hold it until that Titebond sits up a little bit. So the hot glue is fantastic for that. I think that's about it. I think we made a snowman.
Turn it this way.